Okay, it had been some time since the events of Halo. Well, it had been only a couple years if we really want to go into like ODIT, Reach, Halo Wars. But we are back to being Master Chief in the review of Halo 4.
You want to replace him?
The Master Chief is dead.
This file reads missing in action.
Catherine. Spartans never die.
Your mistake is seeing Spartans as military hardware. My Spartans are humanity's next step. Our destiny as a species. Do not underestimate them. But most of all, do not underestimate him.
And of course, the story of Halo 4 picks up 4 years after the events of Halo 3, with Master Chief still stuck on the full on Tadon spaceship just floating through the galaxy, and taking place a couple hours after the event of the web series 4 on Tadon, with Lasky getting a emergency threat signal and coming to pretty much save Master Chief because of the whole being saved as a child, blah blah blah. Go read the books or go watch the web series, which is actually pretty good, by the way. But on the Master Chief side, of course, you end up crashing on a 4-1 planet where you find a being who is, of course, trying to take over the galaxy and take revenge on the human race just because we pretty much replaced him. So, pretty much the story doesn't have really anything too deep there. You find out, of course, why the people on the planet are the way they are, but it's pretty much just a soft undertone to set up the new trilogy. But the main story is mainly on the side of Master Chief and Katana. And of course, Katana is coming to the end of, or cycle, I guess you could call it. Well, every, I think, 7 to 8 years, they pretty much get Rampant and start going crazy.
I will not allow you to leave this planet!
Cortana.
And of course, at Master Chief, you are trying to figure out how to get off the 4-1 planet you crash on and get her back home so they can hopefully repair her so he won't lose her. So the story is really about the relationship and just seemed to be a much more down-to-earth and much more emotional story overall for a Halo series, nonetheless. But sadly, the real plot of the main villain really just come out kind of lackluster since you see he a villain, you see why he a villain, you see him being more powerful, so obviously he make a good villain, but they don't really do much with him outside of like, oh, there he goes, let's go find him. We know where he goes, we must stop him type of story. But if you're actually looking for a more in-depth story on the Master Chief and Katana side, you're going to be getting that plenty here. And it's really nice to actually see Master Chief now with his God complex taken out of the equation, because they pretty much play Master Chief up as a normal soldier, and he no longer will have his one-liners. He have a couple here and there, but he seemed to be a much more interesting and more deep character that time around. But on the gameplay front for this, it does have some problems. Of course, the weapon balancing. As finding out going through it on normal and of course on Legendary and Co-op would be the weapons, especially the new weapons since you have your returning Human, Covenant, and now Promethean weapons, and a couple of new weapons here and there on each side of the Human and the Covenant side as well, and some new grenades. The problem is here is the Promethean weapon doesn't seem all that powerful. They are really cool to look at from the way they break apart and reload and whatnot, but they're not really the most useful thing, and most of the time they usually lack result weapons. You don't really want to use them because they're not that effective. But the game, any on the normal setting, really make you scavenge for ammo all the time, so you're always switching out guns. So you're going to run into a lot of times where you are going to be stuck with these weapons no matter what. And of course, the only other side of it would be, at least on normal anyway, would be, of course, how the mission structures are set up. Of course, you know, Halo is known for the really big open areas and pretty much trying to acclaim your objective in whatever way you see fit, might be vehicle, foot, so on. The problem with these levels now, they are much more smaller and more focused. They're not as open, but you still have some vehicle section. Might be driving a tank or a Pelican or a new spaceship you get in this. So the vehicles are still there. They just seem to be more of a help you get from point A to point B and not really about a mission structure or trying to complete it as you see fit anymore, which is kind of sad overall. And then the other problem here is with the mission structure would be what you end up having to do. Every level is mainly made up of you going from point A to point B to push a button. You don't really do anything else. You hardly defend anything. It just went and repeat over and over again throughout this whole little, anywhere from 4 to 10 hours, depending on what setting you play on, campaign. Which, it kind of get a little repetitive and really starts showing its teeth a little too soon when you're having to push 10 buttons in a matter of 5 minutes. So, it can get a little repetitive there. And then the other issue would be for people on Legendary. It is a mission where you own a very big vehicle and having to protect it from waves of enemy. This is one of the few outside of pushing a button routine. Normal and whatnot is simple. On Legendary though, you are going to be stuck there for about 40 minutes waiting for a platform to open to get on top of a spaceship while defending that big vehicle. While they are continuing dropping enemy tanks, ghosts, soldiers, you are there for a obscene amount of time to the point you might even think the game is glitching out on you because it's just so assured on how long that battle actually takes and how repetitive that battle is. But overall, for the actual main story of Halo, them are the complaints here. A little repetitive, villain, great, any if you throw to the side, and a little bit of unbalancing issue with the weapon, and of course on Legendary. And of course, the other part of the story is you got your Spartan Ops, which is supposed to be a weekly campaign release, I believe on Monday of every week, Monday or Tuesday. And the 4th season gonna be free. Why not? I get to get your hand or feet wet in this. But Elite from episode 1, at the time of the recording, I haven't been able to play episode 2 or 3 or so on. But as of episode 1, the beginning cutscene is try to make it more interesting and you being Spartans, a group of them, you know, talking and chatting and just acting normal, which is obviously trying to get across that the Spartans, any if they're kind of screwed up in their own way, are still people. So it does that. The problem is that once you actually get into the story is mainly made up of just like the last game of pushing buttons. This time you are made up of going from point A to point B, kill everything. But on the upside, the environments are a little more open and a little more to that Halo vehicle combat side. Any if the levels can get a little repetitive of just killing everybody. And each of the 5 levels within each episode is roughly around 10 to 30 minutes episode, 30 minutes, sorry, broken up between all the different settings. So, as of right now, the story is there. It doesn't seem to have much of a draw. The gameplay not much of a draw. It just seemed like something else to do. Hopefully, it get more interesting as they start adding more and more episodes. But episode 1 is kind of a really big letdown from the way they have talked this up. And then the other part of it would be Forge Mode, which is the level creation for say. Of course, this is broken up the same way as it had been in the past, where you picking a level and going in, removing items, setting down your own items, or just going a little bit off the map and make your own tile level from scratch. The main things that have changed here is, of course, now items or materials can click together, and you can make levels a lot more faster. You're not having to deal so much with the physics of trying to line everything up perfectly without going through a complicated grid system. Another thing we would call being able to train like atmosphere, jumping, so on. Pretty much here is just a whole bunch of little tweaks. But the main problem, personally, I have with Forge, maybe this just me, would be the lack of explaining anything. You could tell this is made for the hardcore, and they honestly seem to bet you to be, go look on YouTube, go look at Wikipedia, and figure this stuff out. Because a lot of this stuff wouldn't make sense to the normal person without heavily amount of time just going around in it to figure it out. And personally, I was a little disappointed in that because I was hoping for more of a, I wouldn't say simple, but kind of a little more simple way of designing levels. And it coming from a guy who had done game design and web design and using engines like Unreal Source, 2D engine like RPG Maker, and hell, writing a fucking engine from scratch in Java I have done. And most of the stuff in Halo just seemed to go over my head. So go figure how that worked out. But if you like Forge, it has some new stuff that you should be intrigued and interested to mess around with overall. And then the other part of it would be the whole creating your own level. Or not level, but setting your own level. Might it be from changing weapon loadout, kill, capture the flag, so on, making your own game types. And you have a scene amount of items and menus you can go through to make your game exactly how you want it. And for the people who want to mess with that stuff and just want to make a lot of online games that don't want to mess with the level creation, this is very intriguing. And I am very interested to see what type of levels or game types that are going to come out of Forge and this game type creator. And of course, theater and picture taking and file sharing have we torn. Nothing really have changed here. It's pretty much the same way it have worked ever since Halo 3 up to now, so not much to talk about there. But what is some new thing to talk about is the straight up multiplayer here. And of course, this multiplayer is the most intriguing Halo multiplayer yet. Mainly because it pretty much straight up just copied Call of Duty. Of course, you have your 10 to 20 objective bait, might be capture the flag, team deathmatch, big team deathmatch, SWAT, well, it just 1 to 2 hit and you down with no weight off. You have a whole bunch of random different things. The one thing they have took out is free for all. Now it no longer kill everyone. They have a mode, well, it's similar, but you are fighting to who have the most kills. And in return, you get a little symbol over your head saying you're the king of the fight, and everybody will come at you mainly to get more points. So that the closest thing to free for all. So you like that game type? Look like you're gonna be creating your own type to actually get that, because they're not there by default. But as far as the Call of Duty part of it, would be as you go through, you will be gaining experience for every little thing you do. Might it be completing in-game achievements, or just by winning games, and in return, you will gain levels. By level, you will unlock, of course, new weapons, new armor, and of course, in-game money called FP, which I'm guessing stands for Barton Points. Which, in return, when you unlock a weapon, some weapon will be unlocked just as is. Some weapon will require you to get to a level to unlock it, and then complete a in-game challenge. Might it be kill 100 enemies with a gun, or so on. The normal routine with the challenges. And you will unlock it. Then you have the ones that you will unlock, and then if you want to use it, you got to spend the FP money on to unlock it fully to actually be able to attach it into your loadout. So it seems to have layers on top of layers of stuff you can actually unlock, and might it be weapon, armor, changing new symbol for your buttons, or the way you stand in the main menu for a fighting game. You can actually change your poses for whatever reason. And all of that worked really good. It actually very, very stable, I might add to that, because I really was not expecting to be so stable and finding games so quickly, especially the week of release. But then again, I get Microsoft and 343 actually was affecting a load of people playing this, and in return, the servers actually worked fine for once. And not really disconnect, no real lag or anything like that. So, the main thing that would be about the Halo multiplayer is, if you like the Call of Duty staples, any down to the point of getting kill streak to summon in weapons and airstrikes and so on, but you need a new scene, Halo might be for you. Because anyway, all the same Halo does the same. It does a lot of things different, and actually really feel kind of refreshing. And Halo always do have a magical feel about it, especially in the multiplayer side. Any at the level cap, it only within the 40s. So you might level up fairly quickly if you spend a couple hours playing this. So overall, Halo 4 have some repetitiveness and unbalancedness in the single player. The multiplayer might be a clone of Call of Duty, but that's not such a bad thing. It actually does pretty good in the multiplayer, and on the single player front, your mile might vary depending on your attitude toward the way they are taking the story. But the game haven't really changed that much. It's safe to say 343 actually seemed to actually play it safe, elite, with the game type of Halo and the way the game played. So overall, I give Halo 4
I've got to do something you're not going to like.
a 4 out of 5.
Come on, Chief. Take a girl for a ride.